In today's episode, we're exploring everyday British English words that you'll often hear in real conversations across the UK. From informal phrases like cheers and knackered to classic expressions such as take the mickey. We'll look at what they really mean and how to use them naturally. Welcome to this brilliant episode of
It's brilliant. Aprender Inglés with Reza and Craig.
Hi, I'm Reza.
And my name's Craig.
And with nearly 60 years of teaching between us, we'll help you improve your English and take it to the next level. So, Craig, how are you doing?
I'm fine, me old mucker. How are you doing?
Me old mucker, is that a London expression or Southeast England?
Yep, it's a London expression. I guess you don't use that in Belfast?
We do.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
it sounded vaguely familiar as London when you said it, but you always say me old mucker, don't you? Or you say me old mucker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me old mucker.
In Belfast, we just say mucker without the me old. So in Belfast, right, how about you, mucker?
How about you is how are you?
Yeah.
Or what's going on?
So we use mucker as well, but you add the me old mucker. But in Belfast, we just say mucker. Yeah.
And when I say me old mucker, it's my old, shortened to me old mucker. Me old mucker.
So there's one we do share. We both use that.
Interesting. We'll see if we share any more of these interesting expressions and British English colloquial words. First this week, we have a voice message from friend of the show, Carmen from Malaga.
Hello guys, this is Carmen from Malaga. I'm sending you this audio message because I wanted to say congratulations on your 600 episodes. That's a lot, right? I think it's not easy to keep podcasting with the same positive energy and nice atmosphere while keeping your audience engaged, and you've done it. I take my hat off to you guys, and please celebrate it. Sending you a big hug. Bye.
Thank you, Carmen, for that lovely message. Any comments, Reza?
Thanks very much, Carmen. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. Well, yes, it was our 600th episode, and it just happened to coincide in the same week when it was my birthday, by the way. Slightly, only very slightly under 600 years old myself. So thank you.
Feeling 600.
Feeling 600,
Not
yeah.
looking it.
No, looking 800. Thanks very much for your warm wishes, Carmen. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thanks for your kind words. And I really like the expression, I take my hat off to you guys. If you take your hat off to someone, that means you salute them, you appreciate what they've done, you recognize an achievement. Yeah, I take my hat off to you. And I take my hat off to you, Carmen, for all the lovely ideas you've been sending us for the podcast. So thank you as well.
And one of these days, I plan to get down to Malaga very, very soon to pay you a visit. It's terrible that I've never visited Malaga. I got to get down and visit that lovely city.
So you have been warned, Carmen. What's the first one on the list?
Well, we already said it. Brilliant. So the word brilliant is a real word. It has its meaning that you'll find in the dictionary, but probably more often you'll hear it used in this very informal way to mean simply excellent. So, do you fancy meeting for a dink?
A dink? Yeah, I'd love a dink.
Do you fancy a dink? Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I would say, what's that?
Or even two dinks.
Two dinks? I don't know what they are, but it sounds good. Brilliant. Sign me up for that. Something that's I've never heard of. It's got to be good. So I'll try to. I need to keep practicing my English. I need to listen to more podcasts to practice. Imagine if I said, "Do you fancy going for a drink?"
A drink?
You might say, "Brilliant." Now, clearly, it isn't really brilliant to go for a pint of beer. There are many more impressive things in life you can do. It just means, well, excellent idea. So we use the word brilliant when it's not really brilliant in the true sense of the word. So there we're using it as informal, or you might even say slang, not its true meaning.
Yeah, and then you might hear that word in American English, meaning very clever, a brilliant scientist, or very bright, like a light, for example, a brilliant light. But you wouldn't hear it in the meaning that Rez has described as excellent, like a brilliant podcast or a brilliant holiday or a brilliant trip.
And there's even a shortened version of it, Brill.
That's right, brill. Not used so much these days, but definitely 20 years ago, used to say, yeah, that's brill.
What a good idea, Brill.
Absolutely. The next word, though, you would hear in the US, cheers, although not necessarily in the way that some people use it in the UK. Let me explain. So when you're in the pub or you're drinking alcohol with friends or with family and you raise your glass and you touch glasses, it's very common in American English and British English to say cheers, which is really saying good health. I'm enjoying drinking with you. You say cheers. In British English, it's very common to use this word to say thank you or even goodbye. So you could say, Reza gave me a biscuit and I said, oh, cheers, Reza, which is really thank you, Reza. American English wouldn't necessarily use it that way, would they?
No, for them it's just to clink glasses together, not really to say thank you. And I love a little thing which they often add, a little extra bit in Cornwall and Devon. Cheers, me dears.
Cheers, me dears.
They'll add me dears. Cheers, me dears. Thank you.
Sounds a bit dodgy to me. That's our next word, dodgy, D-O-D-G-Y. What does that mean, Reza?
If something's dodgy, it's suspicious or unreliable. It's most definitely an informal word. You would never use it formally. So we'd quite often talk...
You might say to dodge, though. You could dodge
the
a
verb
bullet.
For sure, but not the adjective. You definitely wouldn't use the adjective formally. But yes, to dodge something is to avoid it. So as Craig said, if you dodge a bullet, you avoid it. So I guess the word dodgy comes from the idea of it's best avoided. If it's a dodgy area, it's better not to go there. If you're drinking a dodgy pint, tastes funny, better not finish it. If he's a dodgy bloke, a dodgy man, don't spend time with him. So if something's dodgy, it should be avoided.
And that word bloke is also quite colloquial. A bloke meaning a man. In Spanish, you might say un tío. Also geezer. You could say he's a dodgy geezer, G-E-E-Z-E-R, which is also a colloquial, informal word for a man. So dodgy geezer, dodgy bloke, he looks a bit dodgy.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. In fact, I'll tell you what you wouldn't do. If you did this, we would know instantly that you weren't a native speaker. If you said, he's a dodgy man, nah, man doesn't go well with dodgy.
It doesn't collocate so commonly.
If you're going to go for it, go the full distance.
Go all the way.
It's a dodgy bloke, a dodgy geezer, or something like that. But dodgy man, it's like mixing really informal English, dodgy, with correct English, which doesn't collocate, does it? So if the adjective is going to be informal slang, dodgy, well then make the noun as well. He's a dodgy geezer, or he's a dodgy bloke is much better than man.
And that sounds very working class to me. What about this, Reza? A person who has been to a very expensive private school, or what we would say public school in the UK, like Cambridge or Eton or Oxford, and the person says, well, I think he's a dodgy chap, or he's a dodgy fellow. That might be acceptable.
Okay, but that's very specifically the upper class using it to show the suspicions of a lower class person. So let's be honest, the likes of you and me wouldn't use it.
No, because we haven't been to those expensive
We're
schools.
from the wrong class. We don't get to use it, But it might be used of us, about us.
Yeah, that Reza, he's a dodgy fellow. He's a dodgy chap. Yeah. Now, we live in Spain, and it's very common after dinner to have a short siesta, a small, short sleep, just a few minutes, maybe 10 minutes or so. Well, we have a word for that, even though you could use the word siesta. In British English, English speakers would know that word, but we have another word also that is kip, K-I-P. So a kip is a short sleep. It's also a verb, to kip. You can say, I had a lovely big lunch and I was off like a light. I dropped right off. I had a lovely kip.
There's another word, but it's a bit more standard, And Americans might even use it, which is nap. Americans might use that as well. He had a nap. But kip is most definitely British, and it's definitely informal, isn't it?
Yes.
Now, they really don't come any more British than the word blimey.
I think you better spell that when you said that.
Blimey? Yes.
Blimey.
B-L-I-M-E-Y, innit? So B-L-I-M-E-Y, blimey. But best, I think, with a southeastern London Cockney accent is when it's best. Blimey. An expression of surprise. Did you grow up saying blimey a lot?
Yeah, I heard it all the time in my family. My mum or dad, they didn't want to swear or say a very strong swear word. They'd say, blimey, Craig, pick up your clothes. Blimey, Craig, wash the dishes. Yeah, very common. Or you could say bloody hell. That's another expression of surprise. More examples. Blimey, that's expensive. So you're surprised about the price. Blimey, he can really play that guitar well. I'm surprised at how well he can play the guitar. Blimey.
I've just thought there's another bit often goes before blimey, but perhaps it was more common in the past. Core blimey.
Or God blimey, meaning God blimey. So you don't pronounce God as G-O-D, God, like you normally would. You don't want to blaspheme or say anything a-religious. So God blimey, it's kind of G-A-W-D, isn't it? Yeah. God blimey.
Yeah. Or even for me, sometimes it comes out as if it were a C.
Core blimey.
Core, but it is God. It's the word God.
Another corruption.
God, from God to God, ending up as core. When you can't be bothered to say it properly. Core blimey. It is, actually the original is God blind me. That's the original.
That's the original.
God blimey has become core blimey, governor.
God blimey, Razor, you've eaten all the biscuits again. I'm gutted, which means I'm very disappointed. My team lost last Saturday. I'm gutted. Or Reza's eaten all the biscuits. Actually, he never eats all the biscuits. But if he did, I would feel gutted.
I may not eat them all, but I do eat quite a lot. I'll grant you that. And very often, as a result of me eating too many biscuits, I get the sugar rush. But then half an hour later, I'm knackered because then I get the down, the downside. When you eat too much sugar and you go feel, wow, great, yeah, lots of energy. But then an hour later, your body reacts by woof, suddenly taking all the energy away from you. That's the opposite of the sugar rush. That's when I feel knackered.
Exhausted, and you need a kip.
So K-N-A-C-K-E-R plus E-D, knackered, is extremely tired.
I'm feeling knackered, and it's only the beginning of the year.
You'll never guess what the informal slang word knacker refers to, particularly in the Dublin area, but in Ireland in general. What is a knacker?
Does it refer to private parts, your testicles?
Nope.
Oh, then I don't know.
A knacker is a travelling person or a gypsy.
Really? I did not know that.
The knackers. Oh, watch yourself, mate. The knackers are coming. Yeah. A knacker in Ireland in slang is a travelling person or a gypsy. And I'm just giving the information. Yeah. Don't get angry with me, anybody. It's meant in a pejorative way. And Irish people use it that way. A knacker.
I've heard the expression, send him back to the knacker's yard.
Exactly. So knackers' yards are places where scrap metal is collected. Who usually collects scrap metal?
Well, some gypsies do.
A lot of gypsies, yeah. Yeah. So I reckon there's probably a connection. So a knacker in slang in Ireland is a gypsy or travelling person.
But to summarise, if you say I'm knackered, that means I'm very, very tired. I'm exhausted. And what you might do to bring your energy level up again is eat something. If you are a bit hungry, you're peckish. And to peck is the action that a chicken or other birds do when they're reaching for food on the ground and they're peck, they're pecking on the ground. So you need something to eat. You're feeling peckish. In fact, I'm starting to feel a bit peckish because it's getting near lunchtime.
Fancy a biscuit?
Yeah, I'd love a biscuit.
Okay, so he fancied a biscuit. You could fancy a person. That means you really like them. You'd like that person to be your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Sexually attracted.
Yeah. Now, Craig, he might well be sexually attracted to biscuits. I'm not sure. It's a possibility.
At my age, that's about as far as it goes.
We'll leave that up to speculation. But when I say to him, do you fancy a biscuit? I simply mean, would you like or do you want a biscuit? So we say in English, particularly British English, Americans not so much, but occasionally, if you fancy something, you'd like it. And it's very, very common to not bother with the rest of the grammar. So instead of saying, would you fancy a biscuit? It's more likely that you'll hear, fancy a biscuit? Dropping the would you or the do you, simply, fancy a biscuit?
So if I said, for example, I fancy an Indian tonight or I fancy a Chinese, that doesn't mean I'm attracted to an Indian or Chinese lady. That means I really feel like eating that kind of food.
Craig, you've got me thinking now. I think we covered strange obsessions and manias and other psychological conditions in an episode, but I can't remember. I wonder if psychologists have come up with a thing for people who do have a literal sexual attraction to biscuits. I bet there's a word for it somewhere.
Yes.
We'll find out for you.
We'll look into it. Yeah, we'll do some testing.
I could be in the presence of a sufferer here.
Let's take a quick break here because I know you listen to this podcast to take your English to the next level. But what about your speaking? Is your fluency improving? Are you happy with your speaking skills? My conversation course focuses on making you a more confident and more fluent English speaker. You'll join me and a small group of motivated students, and we'll meet on Zoom and have topical discussions, role plays, debates, and presentations that will expand your vocabulary and help you express yourself effectively in English. So be proactive and take the first step towards becoming a confident and fluent English speaker. Send me an email today to craig@inglespodcast.com and I'll send you details of the next online conversation course. Thanks for listening. Now let's get back to the podcast. If you have no money, that's the next word on our list. If you have no money, you can say you're broke. You may have heard that word, B-R-O-K-E, to be broke. But more colloquially, you can be skint, S-K-I-N-T. You have absolutely no money. You're completely skint. And I'm skint in January because of the Christmas and New Year expenses. So this month, I'm completely skint.
Yeah. Again, Americans probably wouldn't use that word, although they would say broke.
Yes.
They wouldn't say skint. That's very British. And Americans definitely wouldn't say chuffed or chuffed to bits to mean very pleased. Chuffed is common in all of the United Kingdom, but especially common, I think, in the north of England. They really like it there. Oh, our rat chuffed our. Sorry for my terrible impersonation. That was supposed to be my man from Yorkshire. Well, you're happy? Our rat chuffed.
That's pretty good, actually.
It's not bad, is it?
It's not bad. That's not bad.
That. Yeah. Oh, cheers, mate.
So CHUFFED, and I'm always chuffed to be podcasting with my friend Reza.
Now, the next one, I'm going to say it, I'm going to tread very carefully, to take the mickey. Don't say that one if you're ever in Ireland, Craig.
Why not?
Do you know why?
No idea.
That's where it comes from. So the expression take the mickey means to tease or to mock someone. So you suggest through your words or actions that they might be silly, they might be stupid. Mickey or Mick is an offensive term, and it used to mean an Irish person.
Yes.
And take the mickey was invented by English people to refer to that someone might be stupid like an Irish person. So you would take the mickey, treat them as a stupid Irish person. That's the origins of this expression. Maybe people don't think about that now. I'm sure they don't when they use it.
Would you hear it in Belfast?
No.
Because of the reason you've just said.
Not much, yeah. Occasionally, but my advice is don't use it.
Yeah.
That's my advice.
Be on the safe side. And my advice as well is to only use it, obviously, outside of Ireland, if you have a good relationship with the person you're speaking to. Because if you take the mickey with someone that you maybe don't know so well, then it could be considered as an insult. For example, if somebody has their hair cut, and you say, well, I see you've had your hair cut. When are they going to finish it? So you're taking the mickey. Or if you say, what does your hairdresser do for a living? You're teasing the person. You're making a joke. You're taking the mickey. Only do that if you're confident you have a good relationship with the person.
Yes, I learned that, funny you should say that, the hard way. In my very first year in Valencia, teaching English, I was teaching a class of kids, and a girl who was about 15 years old. And you're going to think I'm inventing the name, but I'm not. She really was called Amparo. I'll never forget. I know half of Valencia are. And I said to Amparo, who was a lovely girl. I really liked her. She was a really nice girl. She had a haircut. And I said, oh, nice haircut. When are you going to finish it? I did it. She burst into tears.
Oh, no.
Immediately. Like, oh, what have I done? It's like, no, I'm only joking. Your hair looks fantastic. It was too late.
Yeah.
The damage was done. She didn't believe me. I said, no, it's a joke. Your hair looks really, really great. We say that in English. Oh, it was too late. She stormed out of the class. All her friends started attacking me. Oh, you're a terrible person. I just said, I felt terrible for days and days and days. And it took her about a month to forgive me. So I literally did what you just advise people not to do, and I paid a heavy price for it. It happened to me.
15 is a very sensitive age. At that age, teenagers get very, very sensitive as far as their looks are concerned. And maybe she didn't like her haircut and you confirmed that it was bad. She burst into tears. That expression, to burst into tears, means to start crying suddenly. So you burst into tears immediately after being taken the mickey out of. Our next expression is bits and bobs. Bits and bobs. We don't say bobs and bits. It's one of those expressions, they're called binomials, but that doesn't matter. One of those expressions where the order is quite important, like black and white, for example. So bits and bobs are small, random items. Now, we have a drawer in our flat that is full of bits and bobs. It's a special place where anything we don't know where to put goes in this drawer. It is a complete mess, a complete disaster. Do you have a bits and bobs drawer at home?
I've several, I'm afraid to say.
The whole flat?
Yeah, basically it's sad when you've got more bits and bobs drawers than drawers where you actually know what's in it. Yes. You could also say, by the way, odds and ends.
Yeah, that's another binomial. Yeah,
for bits and bobs. Odds and ends, bits and bobs.
By the way, you can see all of these words listed on our website, inglespodcast.com/604.
Now, Craig, I've already done several bad impressions, yeah? Let's get a true Southeast Englishman to do the next one in the accent.
Oh, you want a London accent? Yeah. Okay, well, if you have a bits and bobs drawer or lots of places in your house full of bits and bobs, you might want to sort the bits and bobs, which means to arrange them neatly, to put them in an attractive arrangement in their place. Now, that is to sort. That's the verb to sort things, to classify something. But you can use it as an adjective, sorted, which means to organize or to resolve something, to solve a problem, for example. Let's say Reza and I went out for lunch, which we often do, and I decide to pay for the meal secretly, and Reza said, oh, we should get the bill. I might say to Reza, oi, mate, it's sorted. So from London, I wouldn't pronounce the T. I probably wouldn't say sorted. That's the word, though. I would say sorted. So I have that glottal stop. It's sorted, mate. I've done it. It's done. Don't worry about the bill. It's sorted. Hotel, we're going away on holiday. I say to my wife, it's already booked. It's sorted, which means it's done. It's finished. It's resolved.
Yes, he would say that to his wife, who's Spanish. But if he was speaking to a fellow Londoner, too many words, simply sorted.
Sorted, mate.
The one word is enough. You don't need any other words. Sorted. For me, it's very Southeast English. Sorted, mate.
Another beer? Yeah, sorted. Speaking of socialising and going to pubs and buying beer, you could pop round to someone's house. What does that mean, to pop round? Does that mean you go to someone's house and you pop?
It doesn't mean that. And it's a thing that British people are always doing. They're always popping around.
They're always popping.
They're always popping. Nobody just goes to visit you. Oh, no, that would be far too simple to say, I'm going to visit you briefly. No. We like to use our silly little informal expressions. So we say, if you don't mind this evening, I might just pop round and, see how you're doing, maybe have a chat. Is that okay? Is that okay if I pop round? So by using this expression, pop round, it makes it seem very nice and pleasant and, relaxing, short, nothing to worry about. Just 10 minutes, don't worry, a little informal, cozy chat. Just going to pop round.
And there are so many phrasal verbs with this word pop. It's very, very common. You can pop upstairs to get something from the bedroom. You can pop over for a drink, pop over for a cup of tea, or pop over for a beer, or pop in and see us, or pop out to the shops, or pop out to the pub. Pop, very, very common, many phrasal verbs with many different prepositions.
And Craig, do you remember not long ago, I think it was, in fact, I can tell you, it was episode 549. So if you go to Ingles Podcast /549, there's an episode called Health, Understanding a Visit to the Doctor. It just so happens that doctors have at least 3, maybe 4 very commonly used expression with this word pop. Why? Because it's informal. It makes you feel relaxed. It makes you feel at ease and not nervous. So the first thing is you might come in and the doctor will say, well, thanks for popping in. Or thanks for popping round. What seems to be the trouble? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, could you just pop off your shirt? Take off your shirt. Okay, and I need to have a closer look. Could you pop up onto the couch? That means to lie in a bed. All with pop.
Yep, popping everywhere, those doctors, aren't they? Yeah. So that's pop. The next one on the list is fair enough. Fair, F-A-I-R, and enough, E-N-O-U-G-H, fair enough, which means that's reasonable, that's acceptable. Imagine you are in the market for a second-hand car. You want to buy a new car, and you ask the price. Bear in mind that I'm skint, have no money. What's the price for the car? Well, it's 2,000 euros. That's okay. That's fair enough. I accept it. That's okay. I can live with that. It's fair enough. There's one more on the list, and that's to have a moan, which is something I love to do at my age, is to moan about things. To moan means to complain. M-O-A-N. So it's a verb, to moan, and we often use it as a noun, to have a moan, and it's complaining a little, to have a moan about something. Do you often have a moan?
Of course I do. But you say it's because of your age. Well, that may have heightened it. That means to make it worse. But I think it's because you're British. British people love having a moan. But goodness, don't do anything about the problem. No, just moan about it. But don't actually do anything about it. Compare the British to, say, the French. First, they would have a strike. And if that doesn't work, have a revolution directly. But if you're British, I'm not too keen about that. But if you're French, cut the heads off. Revolution, strike.
Because moan can have 2 meanings. You can moan if you're in pain, which is you're moaning, and ghosts.
The French do that.
Yes,
yeah, but not when they're in pain.
We've just lost all of our French listeners, Reza. Sorry, Pilar, if you're listening. So yeah, you can moan if you're in pain. Ghosts and spirits often moan. Ooh. But this use of moan is to complain. So it's a very British English thing to do, and it's a very British English expression to have a moan.
When I was thinking of the French moaning, it was to do with amorous situations, not suffering pain.
Oh, you can moan during sex, can't you?
Sex, and if the French do something very well, it seems to be the love,
Mais oui, mon ami. And now it's your turn to practice your English or your French. Have you heard of any words that we've presented in today's podcast? Are they new? to you? And if you have heard of these words before, why not ask yourself if they are in your passive or your active vocabulary? So have you heard them before? Did you know the meaning, but maybe you don't use them when you're writing and when you're speaking? The best way to widen your active vocabulary is to use the words in emails, in messages, and of course when you're speaking English. So why not start today? Send us a voice message and use as many of these colloquial British English words as you can in 90 seconds. There's a challenge for you.
Yes, so there's a link in the show notes to send your message to SpeakPipe. But if you'd prefer to write an email, you could send that to craig@inglespodcast.com or belfastreza@gmail.com.
Yeah, why don't you write to us and have a moan about the podcast? If you're a Spanish speaker and you fancy improving your English, did you see what I did there? I used fancy. With free and paid resources, visit the Mansion Ingles website at mansioningles.com. And for paid products, you can browse the online store at store.mansioningles.net.
As always, we'd like to say cheers to all our Patreon supporters. If you're interested in joining the Patreon program,
If you fancy it,
it's Patreon, by the way, Patreon. Have a look at the link in the show notes to patreon.com/inglespodcast. And as a way of saying thank you, if you make a donation, you'll get access to the audio transcriptions of podcasts and the chance to sign up for a live Zoom chat with Craig so you can further practice your speaking.
And we don't have time, unfortunately, to thank all of you lovely Patreon supporters, but we will say hello and welcome to our latest supporter of the podcast. We are really chuffed to have Sarah Fernandez on board. So thank you, Sarah, for joining. What are we going to talk about next week, Reza?
In next week's episode, we'll be talking about articles. So we've called it Articles Revisited, talking about the words the, and nothing.
Zero. So a grammar podcast for you next week. Until then, have a lovely week ahead. Thank you for your company this week. It's goodbye from me.
And it's bye-bye from me.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please mention it to one of your friends or family members to help widen our listener base. And the music this week is by Pitts. The track is called See You Later.
Sorted.
Sorted.